Tonight, our host is Alyscia Cunningham. Exhibiting artist as well as author, filmmaker, and photographer, Alicia's work focuses on changing the dialogue around beauty standards for women. After the success of Alicia's first book, Feminine Transitions, a photographic celebration of natural beauty, she became one of the frontline voices for Stop the Beauty Madness, a campaign focused on changing the dynamics of beauty globally. She continues her contribution to social change with her documentary film and photography book, I Am More Than My Hair. Alyscia also co-organized Real Moms, a supportive community for working moms and caregivers in the film and TV industry, in partnership with Women in Film and Video. And Alyscia, please take it away.
Thank you for having me. Hi, my name is Alyscia Cunningham, and I'm an artist and author and filmmaker. And I also have an exhibit at Sandy Spring Museum. It had opened on March 19th, and it is live until September 5th. It's a photography exhibit and a documentary. I play a short documentary clip that's included in the exhibit as well. I Am More Than My Hair. So it includes pictures of women who've experienced hair loss due to a health-related condition. I do invite you to come and join the museum and visit the museum and experience the exhibit, because it's also accessible for people with vision and hearing loss. So it's multiple components with 3D images that can be felt and audio description that can be heard. And the film is audio described. Hopefully you had a chance to look at it between yesterday and then tomorrow at 2 p.m. The film is audio described and captioned. I'm very grateful to have the panel, which consists of the participants from the film, as well as Day, who is the moderator, to have this wonderful conversation with us this afternoon. So thank you for joining us on this Sunday. So Day Al-Mohammed is an author, filmmaker, and disability policy expert with over 15 years of experience. She has written 2 novels, Baba Ali and The Clockwork Djinn, and sorry, I know I probably screwed that one up, Day, and Labyrinth's Archivist. In addition, she is a regular host on Adobe Radio's Geek Girl Riot with an audience of 80,000 listeners. She's the founding member of FWD Doc, Documentary Filmmakers with Disabilities, and recently joined the board of Docs in Progress. Her documentary, The Invalid Corpse, about disabled Civil War soldiers, was recently licensed to Alaska Airlines and has broadcast premiere on Maryland Public Television December 2020. So thank you for being here, Day, and thank you everyone for being here as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Alyscia. I am super excited, and I hope attendees, you guys are super excited to hear this panel. I just had a short conversation with these amazing women not 5 minutes ago, and oh my God, the things they're going to say, I cannot wait for you to hear it. So hopefully you have seen the film and its message, and you've gotten a chance to actually already get to know them as well. But now this is the real time. This is the real in-person moment. So I'm gonna pause because you don't want to hear from me, and I'm actually would just like to just go around real quick and have folks introduce themselves to you. So why don't we start with Wendy?
Hi, I'm Wendy Simon. I've had alopecia since I was 9 years old, and went through all the different phases of alopecia. Alopecia areata, alopecia totalis, and universalis. So it's been, quite a journey. I'm almost 54. I'm a mom with 2 kids, one graduating college in less than 2 weeks, and the other one finishing his freshman year up in college. So I'm an empty nester. And I'm heavily involved with dog and cat rescue, and with helping our community in a nonprofit group called Neighbor in Need. So I'm a mom on the go.
Fantastic. And free because the kids are gone. Marguerite, why don't you go next?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Marguerite Woods, and I've been totally bald probably since the early 2000s. And it's been quite a journey, I'll have to say. I am an artist, and I'm also an advocate for people with disabilities as well as older adults. from the Baltimore City community. And just would like to say that I am a Black woman. I am blind. I am bold. I am beautiful. Thank you.
You can't beat that. Black, bold, blind, beautiful. I'm like, I'm liking this alliteration. Next up, if we have, I'm like, it's a twofer. We have Gracie and Natalie together.
Hi, my name is Natalie Dabrowski, and I am Gracie's mom, and she's just going to read a little something.
I'm Grace. I'm 10, and I'm in 5th grade. I have 2 younger sisters and a brother, and I like sports.
Fantastic.
All right.
Now I got to ask, which sports? Which sports?
I guess soccer, basketball, a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I have been
do a lot of stuff.
the women's soccer team, the American women's soccer team is amazing to follow. So I'm right there with you.
I've done a lot of things in my years of youth.
In her time of youth, right?
In my years.
There we go. All about it. All about it. Janice, you are next on the Zoom list.
All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm Janice Farabee, a native New Yorker. Been here in DC for about 30 years. I am a 2-time fallopian tube cancer survivor. Just finished my 2nd bout with cancer, March 19th, but I have 2 years of maintenance chemo. So my hair, something's going on up there. It's growing back, but it's sticking straight up and it's white. I'm 65 years old. I'm a retired social worker and nonprofit professional, speaker and author, and founder and chief woman warrior of Farabee Enterprises International, best known for Got It Going On, which is an empowerment brand, books, and program for girls. And I love what Marguerite said, just bold, and I am bold and beautiful. So thank you.
Love it. Love it, Janice. All right, going through my list, I see Joy the interpreter, Michael, Nia.
Hi, my name is Naya Santiago. I am a stage 2 BRCA2 breast cancer survivor. I'm originally from Philadelphia, is where I met Alyscia, and I'm just so proud to be here with you guys. I'm 4 years now as a survivor.
Fantastic. 4-year win.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I have a lovely list of questions for our amazing panelists. For those of you who are attending, if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A box, and we will try to answer them at the end, but hopefully they may be answered en route. But please do that. That way we make sure we don't miss them, because if you put them in the chat, we may lose them, and we don't want to do that. So starting off, the first question I have, and let me be upfront, I am so honored to be with all of these folks who are basically putting themselves out there and being very vulnerable and upfront. And it shows with this first question that they were very willing to share, which is, how did you feel when you were first told that you were going to lose your hair? Because there's that moment when, like, the doctor tells you, and then there's that moment when you connect yourself and you go, this is real. And I'm just wondering if you'd be willing to share that.
Well, I'll start. This is Janice. The first time I was diagnosed with cancer was in June of 2011. And because I had a sister who died, both of my sisters died of lung cancer, I knew that after asking about, what was going to happen, one of the cancer drugs was going to take my hair out. Because I kept my hair short anyway, I didn't think that it was going to be that big a deal. But the moment I started seeing the hairs on the pillow after my 2nd chemo treatment, that's when I had the Oprah ugly cry and went to my barber and asked him to shave it off. But it took some time to get used to it, even though I had my hair really short. So it was a transition. And like I said, I saw my sister, her hair come out. But and then I became engrossed and loved it, and I embraced it. And I have 2 wigs, Angela and Sade, but I love the bald look. Bald is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. I love it.
Hi, this is Marguerite, and I guess my story is a little bit different. I chose to let my hair go. I had been taking a medication that started my hair coming out, and so it wasn't that they said you were going to lose your hair. I was losing it in places and just really got engrossed with trying to conceal it and realized it was a lot of time spent trying to do that. And through a series of events and conditions, I decided I was going to let it go. And once I did, it just felt like it was the very right thing for me to do. And it's just a part of who I am at this point. And sometimes I do wear wigs for the fun of it, but you know, for the most part, it's just me and my hair, my non-hair, me and my head.
I like that. Me in my head.
Yeah.
I'll go. This is Naya. When I got just like Janice, initially I got diagnosed and told that the medication that they would be giving me through chemo, I would lose my hair about the second round of chemotherapy. And I did try to prepare myself. I had really long hair, longer than what I have now. And so I had always had long hair, never short, never above my my shoulders. So I had watched a bunch of YouTube videos trying to prepare myself. And the week before my second round, I even cut it really short and embraced the short haircut, which I was like, oh, this is nice. I should have probably did this years ago. But nothing prepared me for the day that I did lose my hair in the shower. It's by myself. My son was the only one home. And it was just an unreal feeling. I was like devastated. I totally thought I was prepared for it, and I just wasn't. Tears, I screamed, and my son just didn't know what to do. And his response, I'll never forget, was just, it's just hair, and you are beautiful without it. And then I went to my father, who's a barber, and he had shaved my hair for me. And I think after that, it took me some time to be in public without a cap on or something else. But once I embraced the bald, it did make me feel beautiful. And sometimes I miss having no hair because the maintenance, like Marguerite said, is just so much easier in life. The amount of money we spend on our hair, we don't realize how much we're losing out.
I love it. I love it. So I love it. I'm getting a bit of a theme kind of a thing from the three of you, what you shared a little bit. It's kind of one of those that preparation, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be rough. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and it's important to be gentle with yourself, but that you do come out on the other side, that there's this recognition that this is me and I'm still me. And I love that. And so I'm going to slide along to the next question that's related to this, because yes, it's there, it's happened, but there's always this qualifying and justifying it and explaining. And how does that show up? Because as you're on this road towards embracing, there's that constant thing with, as you're out and about, to kind of explain yourself. How did that show up in your process? Ooh, tough question, huh?
I'll go again. Because a lot of people kind of recently, I was the first African-American models editor for 17 magazine over 40 years ago. Baldness was not so beautiful back in the day, but more recently, and I'm just so respectful and admire the work that Alicia's been doing, bald has become the in thing, models on the runway, you see folks who have, illnesses being able to be very bold. And for me, I just became like Naya saying, I loved being out in public because I wear these big earrings. For me, it was a fashion statement. It became a fashion statement. And then I remember, I'll say this and then pass it on, being in Macy's, downtown DC, my hair was shaved. I was still in the middle of chemo, and a woman came up to me and said, just very quietly, "Are you going through chemo, or are you cancer?" And I said very proudly, I said, "Yes, I am." And she said, "Thank you so much for wearing your hair in being bald in public, because I'm scared." And it became the conversation, and she had to be egged on by her husband because they weren't sure, if it was appropriate to approach me or whatever, but she came up. And so that made me feel really good to be able to say, that it's beautiful. And she said, "You've helped me with my journey." So
This is Dave. Wow. Yeah. I can't imagine what it's like to have someone go up and come up to you and say, I am so scared. And that what you're doing makes a difference. So I'm just, wow. Oof. Does anyone else have?
I'll follow Janice because it's interesting. I didn't embrace it at first. It was really hard. And my significant other bought me a wig, and I really did try to mask it. But when you're doing chemo, you have so many hot flashes. I was just like, I can't, like, I'm just going to suffocate at this point. I felt like I was 150 degrees temperature wise. So that's how I ended up embracing it. My significant other and I went to a concert once, just like you, Janice, and someone came up to me and said, "What's your story?" And I was like, "What? I don't understand." And it was actually a really good foundation. I don't know if I can say it because it's a cuss word. It's the FUCK Cancer group, and they allowed me to. I felt like they allowed me to embrace my cancer and embrace my baldness. I got to meet other folks in my same situation. And then I ended up meeting a favorite band of mine because of them, Anthrax. And I think after that, I had no hesitations on coming out and being bald and beautiful. And it's even funnier because my significant other had long hair at the time, and people would always look at us and we would always giggle to one another. So it's always important. It's always good of who you surround yourself with, especially when you may be just transitioning from not having any hair to having hair.
Absolutely. Oh, that is great. I'm just picturing it's like someone and the two of you just having a giggle over some of the responses.
Yeah, I mean, if you're sitting in a car or you're just literally in public, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if it, I would just play with his hair a lot. I don't know if it's just because I didn't have my own to play with, like that just became my thing. But like his hair was about the same, like a little bit longer, and I would play with his hair and people would just think like, what? I don't understand the two of them right now. Like she's completely bald and he's got long hair. And just like Janice, I went through the transition of my hair growing back, and I think that was tougher. I wanted to either have the hair or not have the hair. The in between was just too difficult.
Oh, I believe it. So both Janice and I have shared a little bit of some actual personal stories, and so one of the things I think that's always important is we always talk about the feelings and the thoughts and the transitions and stuff, but I think you guys have really demonstrated is that a story really brings it home. And I'm not going to have anything specific. I was just wondering if any of you'd be willing to share a story from your own experience, whether it was your own, recognition, whether it's a time with somebody else, whether it's people being jerks, because that does happen, or someone being unusually supportive. And I'm just wondering if some folks would be willing to just give us a couple of stories.
This is Marguerite, and I would like to share a story. For me, your question earlier about qualifying, justifying, and all that, I think I had that internal conversation with myself, and I really got to the point where I knew that I could not continue to go another day with trying to conceal the blindness. And I was at a meeting, and I was going to the ladies' room, and I walked down this corridor, and I'm totally blind now, but I had some sight at that point. And there was a woman sitting in the corridor, and she was looking down, writing in a book or something. And she was totally bald. And when I looked at her, she just seemed so peaceful and so, you know, at peace and serene and just absolutely beautiful. And as I passed her, I just spoke and I told her how beautiful she looked. And she started telling me that she had dealt with alopecia since she was 10 years old, and she had always worn wigs and that kind of thing. And she had made a decision. She was a nurse and she was teaching a class, and she said she had just got to the point where she decided she was no longer going to wear those wigs. And she just was wearing her head, and it was just so absolutely beautiful on her. And as I continued to the ladies' room, I knew that that was what I was going to do. That helped me make up my mind. But the thing that was really interesting was I did not realize that I knew this woman. I knew her when she was wearing the wigs and so forth. Her entire personality had transformed. She was not the same person as far as I could tell. I didn't even like her when she had hair. And I really appreciated her as a beautiful, bald woman. She just completely, you know, it lifted so much from her that she revealed a part of her that I'd never met. So, you know, that was it for me.
I like that. The idea of letting go in many ways and just being your authentic self and how freeing that can be. And then so you suddenly go, this is this other person who is beautiful and fully in themselves. So that is
yeah, sort of like with Janice and the other lady. I'm sorry, Naya.
Yes.
What they were doing for other people, this woman did for me, in a way.
Awesome. Anyone else?
Is Gracie still on the line? I would love to hear from her.
Yes, she's still here. A little bit nervous with speaking.
It is all good.
Okay.
Pardon me?
Can I ask Gracie a question?
Oh, sure.
Sure.
This is Naya. Gracie,
Okay.
you are bald and beautiful. So
Thank you.
how do you embrace being bald at your age with other children who maybe aren't so kind, and maybe the ones that are? How do you, on a regular basis, because you're at homeschool now before COVID, how long have you not had hair, I guess?
Whenever I don't wear wigs, I don't wear like anything. I don't like being in itchy stuff. I just
I agree. I agree.
I can't be in fancy stuff. I just can't.
Yeah, no, that was the big thing, the itchiness of the wig or your hat, you just sweat in it. Do you find that everyone embraces your bald and beautifulness?
Most of the time people don't mind, but there are some people that are just really like straight up rude. Tolerate that.
Yeah.
You sound so awesome. Like, you have a great personality, Grace.
Thanks.
Sounds like you're a real advocate for others who can't be as forward as some of the panelists, including myself, are. So that's really nice to hear.
Yeah, we were just talking back and forth. So Gracie also has celiac disease. And after she lost her hair, I want to say her hair, probably most of it in about 8 weeks. So it was very quick. And so we were just looking for answers. And sometimes it's not, sometimes there are no other answers. And alopecia, it just is what it is. But autoimmune disorders pair together. And so we went down the road of sort of having her screened. And shortly afterwards, we found out that she had celiac disease. So she had to go through two very big things when she was just 7 years old.
When I was 7.
Right. So we had to completely change her diet to a gluten-free diet, and we made our house gluten-free. And so that was a huge change. And we always talk about that was like the hidden change, the change that you don't see, right? You don't know that from the outside. And then you have the alopecia, which is this other way that, makes you different. So, the invisible differences and the differences that are visible. And I remember at the time we did a little project with her class, and I went in and we made all these books and we talked with the children about what makes them different. And it could be a difference that you see or one that you don't see. And we had all the children do different books and they shared them with the class. And that's sort of something that we did to manage it initially at the beginning. That was about 3 years ago.
Fantastic. Yeah, I have a friend who has celiac, and she always talks about the fact that there's the thing that you can see. She goes, but man, sometimes this one inside that nobody ever sees is the tougher one to deal with, especially when like we're going to go out to eat. I'm like, where are we going to go?
Right. We base that a lot too, because, and even her siblings who are younger, sometimes we were saying the younger ones get the alopecia and the celiac mixed up. Like they think the reason she doesn't have hair is because she eats gluten or, so, and they'll like try to explain it to people. And Gracie just shakes her head and says, it's like,
no, please stop.
I think that's the way with younger siblings. They never get it right. I'm an eldest, so yeah.
Like my younger brother always tries to clarify what's like, he's like, you need to know all this.
Yeah.
He gets a little personal.
Absolutely. I love it. And I was like, Naya got right in there. I'm like, yes, that's like you jumped right into which is the next question, which is, dealing with family and friends, including those pesky siblings, and their reactions to it, because as much as we go, yes, I can do this, it's just me, I'm strong, there's other people, and sometimes other people, wait, I love the way you put it, are rude. Yeah, people are just rude. So I was just say, so how did what were other people's reactions to that, and kind of how did that maybe how did you kind of figure out how did you want to figure out how you wanted to manage that? I mean, did you tell people they were rude? Did you just go, I'm going to ignore it and pretend it's all the same? Or, I mean, there's so many different ways to respond to that.
Do you want to talk?
You want to say something? You can say something.
No, you wanted me to respond.
You can say as much or as little or as not as all as you would like.
I was just going to say, as her mom, this is Natalie, we have such a supportive family. So we're very fortunate. And I think another thing is, she's the oldest of 4. And so, our house and our life is very, very busy. And I think
my siblings weren't rude. Like my sister Chloe, she didn't even care. She was just like, okay, it's fine.
But I think it made everything seem more normal, and there wasn't so much focus on it because you're running around and doing different activities, and you have, siblings, or for me, my children with different needs, and we have also a very extensive family. We all sort of live in Baltimore, and I've always been very thankful that everyone has just, embraced it. I mean, it's not to say it wasn't painful, but I think when you have that support network, it makes it so vastly different, I
don't come across a lot of people who have a problem with it, but if they do, I just tell them that they're rude so that they can just stop.
Yeah, Gracie tries to stand up for herself, or her siblings try to stand up for her. And I think that makes a big difference also.
That's excellent.
Yeah. And I know for a lot of kids maybe who aren't as strong as you, it'll make a difference for them. So thank you.
Hi, this is Marguerite. And I think for me, because I am blind, so sometimes it's more about what I feel from people than, how they're looking at me. So I don't have to quite deal with that. But I have had an experience, one of my closest relatives the first time that she saw me after I, shaved my head, and she just stopped in her tracks, and she just couldn't say anything. And it's been an interesting thing because, like I said, it was in the early 2000s that I shaved my head, and she still hasn't said a word about it till today. And she's a big advocate for long hair. That's a big deal to her. And so, but what has happened for me is it's helped me to become, I guess, stronger and more understanding of myself and other people. And I've begun to be able to appreciate that people have their own opinions and they don't have to agree with mine. They don't even have to, like mine. But I've learned to be okay with them having their opinion and feeling very good and confident about my own. And that has been, just sort of a big deal in my process of becoming, more as a human being, is to appreciate that, it's okay for people not to agree or to like or even accept me as I am, as long as I'm doing it for myself. And so that's been a big thing for me.
Yeah, I get that. It's the idea of like, that is them, this is me. The problem is on their side, not mine. Yeah.
And it's beyond not even a problem. It's not even a problem. It's just okay that, because it's okay for them and I'm okay with me. So really there's no problem. It's just, that's what diversity is. I'm beginning to embrace it from, a broader place. They don't have to agree and they can still be okay. And I don't have to agree or even like what they're doing, but it's okay that they do it. I don't need them to change, which is a big change for how I started off. My indoctrinated beliefs have become something totally different as a result of, dealing with this, embracing it, and other things in my life, but definitely this as well.
And sorry, go ahead.
Oh, this is Janice. Thanks for saying that, Marguerite, because the first time I had cancer, 10, 12, 10, 11 years ago, when people would see me, especially friends, they would feel, they were very supportive. I mean, my friends and family have been very supportive, but they would feel like, oh, is there something wrong? What can I do for you? Kind of feeling sorry for you, you're ill, are you dying? Those kinds of things. And for me, the second time around, because of the way I acted the first time, I was like, I'm used to this, I've gotten used to it. Thank you for, your concern, but it is what it is, and I'm going to beat it, or at least that's, the creative visualization, I'm on the other side of it, or, I won't, because like I said, I had two sisters that died of cancer, but it really had a lot to do with how I felt. But the older you get, like I said, I'm 65 years old. So like Grace, if you don't like it, that is on you. I am too old to be thinking about what you think about me. My hat is off to you, Grace, and I feel you. I absolutely agree with you. But for me, at this age, I have, what you think about me is none of my business. So that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I dig it. I dig it. Woo. And like, you guys are just dropping wisdom everywhere. All right. So so the next question is kind of as it connects maybe a little bit to the film, but also to the ideas of beauty more broadly, right? And that's more like, if you think about the title of the documentary is I Am More Than My Hair. And I guess I'm kind of curious about your thoughts and feelings about that. I'm like, do we need other people to validate us before we can accept our beauty? And okay, I think from everybody here, the easy answer is no, we shouldn't. But it's so much more complicated than that. And I'd just love to hear a little bit more about some of the messiness of that and how you navigate that and what it means.
You know what? I'll go. This is Naya. you know, Janice knows, just losing, and all the ladies, when you lose your hair, whether it's chemo and even alopecia, you're losing not only what's on the top of your hair, but you're losing eyelashes, you're losing eyebrows. And before chemo, I wasn't a big makeup person. Like, I didn't fill in my eyebrows and the precision that we have now. I mean, goodness, I feel like I have to go to art school just to put on eyebrows. And I appreciate the ones that, the tattoo ones that you just put some water on and take off the paper and you have them. It's great. I took a class, like I went to Sephora and I was like, I'm going to learn how to put eyebrows on. And it was really uncomfortable until we started getting into it and all the ladies were helping. And I was like, I do have a community of people who aren't going to judge me. And women in general do become more supportive with one another, which is great. And beauty is hard. And I think we do need people to validate, even if it's the smallest bit, just to say, you look beautiful, it's okay that you don't have it. We need, as humans, I think, to hear that at first. Then it is up to us to embrace that, because I know if my family didn't tell me, you know, well, at least you have a good noggin, at least it's round and perfect. And that was like, okay, well, at least I was like, okay, well, maybe other people don't, but I'm realizing that people who are bald have beautiful heads regardless. I think we're all just born with beautiful heads. But the eyebrows was a big thing for me. And even now I painted on my eyebrows today, but if I don't, it always sometimes brings me back to the beginning of when I was going through treatment and I had no hair and no eyebrows. I don't know why. And so if someone doesn't say something, or if they go, are you going to put eyebrows on today? I kind of get like, really? Like, you're not going to embrace the fact that I have thin eyebrows and I don't have them. So I think sometimes you do need it. And after a while, you'll get used to it, to yourself, to seeing the beauty in yourself. It just takes time and a lot of inner thoughts to yourself. So that's just my opinion on it.
That's what matters. That's a good one. This is Marguerite, and piggybacking on what you were saying, I haven't had to, deal with losing my eyebrows. Not that I could see them anyway, but they've always been kind of thin, so I just kind of deal with that. But one of the things that really has been interesting to me is there are people who kind of respond to me. They'll say things like, don't you want to wear a wig today? Or do you want to put on a hat? So they're really, they're really saying to me they have a problem with my baldness. And so what I'm discovering is if I don't have any funny feelings on the inside, I'm good. But if I do, then it's something for me to work out. And so it's helping me to become stronger and, just a bigger person. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I just wanted, this is Janice, I just wanted to add also, you said about beauty. Before I got sick, I was a intern at a high school in Philadelphia when I was doing my master's, and one of the young men, I had my hair still short. The young man said, well, where's your hair? In the Bible, it says, that a woman's glory is, her locks and this and that. And I just told him, that my choice was, because I used to have a lot of hair, my choice was to keep it shorter and that I like it this way. And then he said, well, what man is going to want, So that was very interesting from a young person in high school. So I told him, I said, you know what? It only takes one man who likes short hair. And the last person that I was seeing, he's deceased now, but he was bald. So I always had more hair than he did. So I thought that was very interesting, for a young child, to have grown up seeing hair. And somebody mentioned that, somebody had, hair was a big thing. And even my father, when I cut my hair off real short, because he his mother was part Indian, African American, you know, had long hair. When I cut my hair off, he said, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" But the same thing I said to him, it only takes, you know, one person to love the way that you look. And first of all, it starts with me, but beauty, you know, is within the eye of the beholder. And still, even though I had mentioned before, we have bald, you know, women as a fashion statement, there are still, you know, stereotypes, and there's still traditions around the world where hair is a big deal.
Too true. Too true. I'm just like, wow. So, and so I love it. We've been talking about what it is, how we feel, how we relate to others. We're talking about the way the world kind of looks at beauty a little bit. It's what we've touched on a bit. And so I guess here's a question I know that someone put forward, which is, so medical technology and medication is doing some amazing things right now. And there was a study recently with a medication for rheumatoid arthritis that's having really good results with regard to helping folks grow back the hair, but it's got some serious health impacts, including impacting the immune system, leaving you more vulnerable. So I'm just kind of curious for you guys. This question is, would you take lifelong meds to regrow your hair if it was an option, even with their potential risks?
No.
No. This is Marguerite. No, absolutely not.
Marguerite, I think we all shook our heads. This is Naya. We all shook our heads no.
This is Janice. No.
You want to say?
Wendy? I think, you know, with the community that I'm part of, the alopecia community, it's a little bit different because we're a community of people, whether you have areata, totalis, universalis, it's not a temporary situation, and it can fluctuate from one to another. There's no warning. There's no doctor telling us that we're going to lose our hair. We're going to get our hair back. This treatment will work. This treatment won't work. And so there are a lot of people who I'm connected with, you know, in these different groups, alopecia groups, who actually are taking the medication, who are wanting their hair back, and who feel that, you know, that the chances they're willing to take. I'm not, you know, I'm a very healthy person, and you know, I'm a mom and a wife and a sister and a daughter, and have, you know, lots of friends, and I feel my health is more important than my hair. But, you know, I will say that there was a medication out there or a topical out there that wouldn't have, you know, medical side effects, I would take it in a heartbeat. Because, and I am a person who does wear, I'm not wearing a wig right now, but when I wear a wig because I like to wear a wig. I like how I like wearing and having hair. I had my eyebrows microbladed because I like to have eyebrows. I put eyeliner on, so I don't have eyelashes. Because I don't want to put on eyelashes. That to me is, I'm not really very good at that, and that's a hassle. But I think that's okay to accept people decisions, and there is no decision. And if people want to take a chance medically, that's their life, and you have to live it. You only get one chance, and you know, if that's what makes them happy. Or
Yeah, I think we just kind of like go with the philosophy of my body, my choice, right? You know, so what's right for one person may not be right for someone else. I mean, it's because sometimes I'm making decisions on behalf of my child, right? What I feel like.
Excuse me?
That's the mom's job.
Feel, well, you know, I mean, especially when she was younger, right? When she was 6 and 7. And I'm sure those of you with alopecia know, you know, there's sort of this progression of treatments, right? You start out with the topicals, and then at one point we tried something called squaric acid, which just went horribly. It was made this little burn in her scalp. And all of this, you're trying to like regrow hair because, you know, that's what you feel like you need to do, you know, especially when it comes out so quickly. You're just like, okay, what can we do to like, you know, resolve the problem? But like for us, we sort of stopped at the point where we, like there was discussion about JAK inhibitors. You can use them topically, and that's what they're using for like the rheumatoid arthritis, or you can use them orally. But, you know, I wouldn't want to do anything like for her health for later down the road. And so it's just not something that, you know, if she was older and she was 25 and she wanted to do it, although she just said no, she doesn't.
No, I'm not doing any of that.
Yeah, you know, but if she was older, she can make it herself, right? So I think it's hard when you're making it on behalf of someone else. Now, we did make a personal decision to decide to go down a functional path. So actually next month, we're starting to see a functional practitioner and hormone coach. And so that's something where you're not treating you're treating the source, right? You're kind of looking internally, and you're using like food as like a healing mechanism to see if there's a result. So that's sort of where we'll go, but we're not going to go to pharmaceuticals, you know, because I think long-term side effects are real, and we wouldn't want to jeopardize anything her health, because she's a pretty healthy gal.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, I think
Just
that's
as a reminder, sorry, just as a reminder, I've got the gentle 10-minute reminder. That's all. We can keep going.
Okay. Wow.
excellent. Yeah, I was gonna say the hour flew fast, but thank you guys. It's like, and I love that the last question in some ways, because it's true. There is no right answer, and who knows what changes are going to happen in the future. And I have to admit, even just on the call, I'm like, I didn't know about microblading eyebrows. I didn't know you could do temporary tattoos for eyebrows. I'm like,
They're so cool. I watch them all the time. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm like, I just can't do it.
yeah, so it's just, you know, there's just even simple things that I'm like, I certainly was not aware of. But I think part of it is just figuring out where we are and how we fit into that. Because I'll be honest, I'm a little lazy about lipstick. Y'all can't tell. I'm using the Zoom's fake lipstick, so I'm like, yes. Just so you know, Zoom's little fancy thing can also give you eyebrows. So
Really?
yes, yeah. Granted, the last time I played with it, I also gave myself a full beard. So it's amazing what technology will do. So I want to slide in real quick, just the last question too, and then I promise that those of you who are attendees, we have your questions waiting. So I Am More Than My Hair is a film with a pretty clear message about beauty and about resilience. And I just kind of broadly, how do you think that reflects on larger society? But what do you think needs to happen to kind of really make that message, you know, stick? The things that you were saying, how do we make that stick more broadly?
Well,
Yes,
this
I'm
is
asking you to
Janice.
solve the problems of the world. Come on, let's do it.
Well, this is Janice. Doing things like Alicia is doing. There needs to be much more, and I talk about counteracting crazy, much more in the media, and we've got so much of it. Social media, Instagram, Twitter. I mean, I'm still on Facebook. We've got Netflix, we've got channels, we've got YouTube, you know, ways and places that people can send this message out, a message of, you know, beauty is what it is, you know, it's what you believe it is. And then funding, and I know Alicia loves that word, funding,
wow.
getting funding for these projects. And there's money
Yeah.
out there. There is more than enough on this planet. So that's what I would say.
Absolutely.
This is Marguerite. Janice, I like everything that you said. And I think things like this, where we're talking about our experiences and embracing who we are, I think that sends a clear message. And I think that speaks to people, you know, far reaching. And I think the more that we understand who we are and we're willing to stand, you know, solidly in our I'm more than my hair attitude, I think that it resonates with people. And I think that all of those things that you just mentioned, you know, will happen even more as a result of, you know, individuals like ourselves and more.
This is Naya. I think I agree with all the ladies. it's also just about teaching young ladies as we're raising them to just know that beauty is within. It's not always external. A lot of what you see on social media teaches young ladies that it's makeup and hair and a standard, and there is no standard. I have 3 nieces, and I try to tell them it doesn't matter where your clothes come from or if your hair is done or not. Are you having fun? And if we look like we're messy later, that's okay. It's just about how we're feeling with one another. Embracing your inner beauty, I think, is the best thing that we can really teach women and support each other while we're doing it. We see negative comments, reaching out to that person directly, pulling them to the side and building them up as much as we can. Building each other up instead of pulling each other down is what we really need. We have enough other people doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is
So
Alyscia, and
true.
I'm going to, in response to that, I agree with everything, and it starts in the household. So I have been, it's not until I got older that I really appreciate what I've been taught at home. My father was very adamant about natural beauty, and it was a constant conversation when he would tell me that I was beautiful and always lifted me up to let me know that I didn't need the outer, the makeup. Not that I'm against it, and there's no judgment for, if anyone decides to do anything with themselves, their bodies, their lives, but he was really adamant about learning to embrace and love who I am just as I am. So I feel like a major part of what the work that I create is really in tribute to that. So I didn't realize a lot of the challenges with beauty standards until I actually started with my projects prior to this one. So feminine transitions. So I'm grateful for my for the background, and that conversation does begin at home.
Beautiful.
Love it. Yeah, and I think you guys, a lot of you've all touched on the idea of part of it is what you hope people walk away from this film with, what you want them to hear. So I don't know if you guys have any last words before we move to the questions. Advice, recommendations, stories.
Just that you are
Community.
enough. Sorry.
Go ahead, Janice.
This is Janice. Just that you are enough, just the way you are, at whatever age you are, and to learn before you take your last breath that is true. To learn that you are enough.
Yeah. Thank you, Janice. That's fabulous. And also what Naya said about, how do you feel on the inside? Are you enjoying your life? Are you enjoying yourself? And the things around you? Because that speaks a lot about where your heart is. And, beauty just seems to flow when you can get that straight within yourself.
This is Naya. I think community, know that you aren't alone. There are not just women, but when I went to my support group that I had at the hospital, it was a writing course. I was like, I'm not a writer, but we ended up just the support of knowing that I wasn't the only one going through it. And there were men in that group who talked about how they're coping with their wives or significant others. I think it's important for you, whether it's an online community or an in-person community, and even maybe some therapy, just to, maybe you have some hidden demons that you need to deal with just to help you. No one is ever alone. There's always someone out there who can relate, past, present, or maybe in the future, and you don't know how you're going to impact them.
Yeah, that's so true.
Absolutely. So shall we take a look at the questions?
Yes.
So,
Okay. So there's 2 questions. Do you want me to read it, Dave?
Yeah, go ahead. It's
okay.
probably easier for you to do it.
Okay. So Sarah asks, how did you find women to photograph and interview and then convince them to share their stories? So all of these lovely ladies here, and I actually have to count it the other day. So it's 52 women and girls that I was able to photograph, because at first this was a book. The plan was to be a photography book, and it evolved into a film, and I blame it on Docs in Progress, which is actually how I met Dave. But I wouldn't say that I didn't convince them. I met them through, let me go back. So I met everyone through a group or an organization. And so for example, what Naya mentioned, F Cancer, I gave them my blurb, like here, filmmakers looking for participants, women who have all to tell their stories. And then National Alopecia Artria Foundation. I did the same thing. I sent them a blurb. And then I had, CAP, which is how I met Natalie and Gracie, which is Children's Alopecia Project. And I think Janice, I know Marguerite, we met through someone she owns a women group, and I posted about it, so she shared with Marguerite and connected the two of us. And I think Janice, we met I know it was another, was it African? No, it was another group, a cancer-based women's group.
Yeah,
I can't remember which one it was.
either.
Yes. So I just shared with them my call for participants, and then they shared on social media, and on through email, the email listserv, and then everyone contacted me, and thankfully I didn't have to convince that they just they're willing to share they trust me enough to share their stories, and I was really adamant about sharing whatever you're comfortable with. So I don't want to go outside of that. I want you to just be where you feel comfortable, which is another thing. I met everyone where they wanted to be, their favorite space. So I was asking to take their the pictures or to do filming, and then they just shared whatever they wanted to share with me. And I'm so honored to have been able to meet everyone, and I feel like I have an extended family. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are so proud of you, Alicia.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my
I
goodness.
agree. Yes. I thought it was just going to be a small, I would say I thought it was going to be something small, and I just wanted to be able to share my story if someone else could relate and hope that it would help them, because I followed an influencer and that helped me. And now I love that I can continue to be like, let me just share this with you, because there are so many other people out there. I just love what you're doing. I hope that the Lord continues to bless this project.
Oh, thank
and
you.
many others.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Continues. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and thank you all for connecting and meeting me, and once again trusting me to share. And also Gracie, my daughter, and they're 2 years difference, because my youngest is in the 3rd grade, but she and my daughter Zuri had met, and I felt like they hit it off the first time they connected.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Yeah, right off the bat.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. And then here's the next question from Sarah. Why did you break up the stories with graphics? Really fun. I'm thinking it is to add some levity. And for those of you who didn't see the films yet, you have until tomorrow, which is Monday, May 3rd, to see it until 2 p.m. So it's open for 48 hours, where you can view the film, and the Q&A. This part of the Q&A was just to talk about it and to meet the women in the film and to have a conversation. But please go back to Eventive and view the film. But so there are graphics in the film, and the idea was to have something where you have like it is to break up the stories as well. So it's to add the visual to the story line as well, and then it added some B-roll for anyone. I love graphics. It catches my attention. I have a very short attention span. So it's helped. The graphics is helpful for me, to see like the visual, with it as well. So that's why it's added, and I think it's beautiful. Like it adds another form of art to the film as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. And those are the 2 questions.
There we go. I have to admit, the one thing with the idea of adding graphics to add to the levity, at the same time, I'm kind of like, the biggest thing is, this is not normally when you see something, it's alopecia or cancer or any kind of disability or thing like that, it tends to be like very trauma heavy and very, oh, the world is ending, the cosmic unfairness of life sort of a thing. And I think one of the things from in the film, but also just from the meeting all of you guys, it's also about living and resilience and just the joy in engaging who you are, like not to downplay all the horrible things that you guys have had to deal with and people being rude. Because I love that. I'm going to use that for everything now, because it's probably more polite than me calling people stupid. So, but also, how you manage that in the different ways, that the fact that Janice names her wigs, or that Wendy's like, no, I'm going to do my eyebrows. I'm going to wear my eyeliner. And I'm like, oh man, it makes me now go, I need to up my game a little bit here. And I giggle a little bit about Naya, playing with your partner's hair. It's like it's about just the joy in living, and I think that makes adds more heart and realness to a story versus the shallow, the world is ending kinds of things that you normally see. So I think the film reflects that. So that's my bias. So
I also wanted to add to that. I was really particular about because although I was receiving emails or calls from people who wanted to participate, I was really particular about making sure to meet with women who had this like really positive attitude. And it doesn't mean that the positivity does not mean that you may not have challenges from experiencing hair loss, but even with that, still have a positive just outlook on be downers. I wanted to have women who are uplifting and who can just to keep the film at like an upbeat, because we can all get caught up in a frenzy and complain. It doesn't mean that I don't have my days too, complain about certain things that don't go well, but I think just that keeping that consistent like positive energy was very adamant. So everyone on here and everyone that I met, I'm so grateful again because it's all you.
Absolutely. And with that, I think we are a little out of time. So I will encourage folks that they have to see the film by 2:00 tomorrow. It's easily available. And the exhibit is at Sandy Spring Museum, which is fantastic. And it's like multi-sensory.
Yes.
And with that, I actually want to thank Naya and Janice and Marguerite and Wendy and Gracie and Mom Natalie for being a part of this and sharing such a vulnerable part of yourselves, as well as Joy for being our interpreter and Alyscia for like just bringing it all together. So
thank you.
Thanks you guys.
Thank you for your moderation.
Jay, for moderating. It's been awesome. Thank you so much. And each of you ladies as well. And Gracie, you are just fabulous. Just like Naya was telling you, it's just a pleasure to hear your voice.
Thanks.
Yes.
And your mom. Yes.
Thank you.
And of course, Alicia, and thank you, Michael.
Yes. Thanks,
Always
Michael,
happy,
again.
Marguerite.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, have a good one. Thanks for coming, everyone. Thanks for
Thank you to
joining us.
everyone.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.